Welcome everybody to the 2023 U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championships. We are at Cedarock Park, and today we are playing the Cedarock course. This is the FA1 Round 2 Front 9, coverage brought to you by Central Coast. I'm Jennifer Allen alongside
Paavo Stubstad with Central Coast Disc Golf. I was TCAM operator for this round, so I might have a little bit of inside knowledge, but I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, or 0 for you guys. Following 4 players here, 2 of them are the same players we saw yesterday on our feature card, along with 2 new players. We'll see them all introduced here in a moment. Looking at our top 10 leaderboard here, we've got Alecia leading the way by 1 stroke over Brook, and then our 2 new players today are Addison, Woodard, and Rebecca Minnick.
Both at 6 under. A tight race to start round 1. This is a 4-round major brought to you by the PDGA. Here we are, hole number 1. This is 275 feet, par 3. And the basket sets right behind these couple of trees here. Other than that, we have a wide open fairway, very different from yesterday.
Pretty much the polar opposite of yesterday's course, but to add an interesting element, today was extremely windy. I would say 10 to 15 miles per hour consistently with 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts.
First on the tee, Alecia Trauscht.
So it looks like a right to left. You can see the flags there. That's the 18th basket to her right. Alecia is sponsored by MVP. And that is let out just a little early, hyzering off on the left side of the fairway.
Team second, Brook Johnson.
We saw Brook hit a couple highlight putts yesterday. Let's see if we can see some more today. Her pre-shot routine is something else.
I would have dropped the Frisbee by now. But a beautiful flex shot. That's going to hyzer in right at the basket.
Beautiful shot from Brook there, only about 12 to 15 feet.
Will be Addison, Woodard.
Going with the big hyzer. Again, a little too much underplate of the disc exposed with that wind, pushing it to the left side of the basket.
Yeah, with that right to left crosswind, you really got to keep it more level if you want to avoid that. And the wind picked up a lot as Rebecca stepped on the tee here.
That's a huge difference. Look at the leaves just flying across there. The flag on the 18th basket is at fully extended. And that's kind of a weird way to ride into that wind, but wide open hole.
I think she might have seen what happened to the other players and maybe overcompensated, didn't want her shot to get carried out to the left and just picked something too understable and turned it over. Nice upshot though.
Yeah, that gives her a great look to save par.
Nice up from Alecia there. And this hole actually averaged exactly par, 3.0 for the field.
Beautiful putt out of her hand. I knew that was in. Great way to start the round. She looks so professional, yet looks so young.
Yeah, I actually wish I had looked it up before the round. I don't know her age. Do you?
No, I don't. It's awesome. I've been watching several of the young junior girls out here this week, and they're just cashing these huge C2 putts. It's so amazing to sit back and watch this sport grow just right in front of our eyes.
It really is. There's something special about seeing up-and-comers who you don't know if any of these we're going to see playing FPO in a few years, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing them start out here and leading the FA1 division. Addison and Brook starting off with birdies, and Rebecca and Alecia with pars, which is not bad in this wind.
No.
Taking one more look here at this beautiful putt from Addison. And moving on to hole 2, this is a 320-foot par 3. Low ceiling, probably plays best for a forehand here on the left. Slightly downhill, some guardian trees maybe at the edge of the circle, short, and a cool rock formation to boot.
This probably feels wide open from what they played yesterday. Ooh, nice little wind bounce. Gonna ride it right down, just a little short, but it had a great line on it. And it looks like the wind is swirling. So that's very difficult to read.
Throughout the round, that is something that the players were talking about, that the wind kept changing direction, and we'd play a hole in one direction and it would be headwind, and we'd play a hole going back the other direction and it would still be headwind.
Yeah, and when that happens, it's really difficult to read. You'll get a lot of those air bounces, and what you think will push a disc down will pop it, and then the next person does the exact opposite. That had good height, just really pushed it way too hard to the left. Looks like it found its way back into circle 2, though.
Punched through all that rough, and she is in the open. Something I neglected to mention in the drone preview is there's a telephone pole there that we saw that's a Mando left, and there was a drop zone near it. No one missed the Mando, but it does force that, left to right shot down the left side.
I think the goal when you have this strong of a wind is to really focus on pars. It doesn't really even matter the distance of the hole. Getting the disc close to the basket where you don't have to worry about making a strong putt in the wind.
Absolutely. And here we see Brook getting down on her knees to mitigate the wind factor, keep the disc low to the ground. Upshot went a little long, but that should be an easy enough comebacker for her there.
Yeah, the ground there looking a lot like the other course. Very little grass in the roots and getting a lot of ground play.
Ooh, that was a good bid.
She almost spiked it in there. Just a tad high, stays close.
And this hole with all the trees and the wind played pretty tough today, averaging 3.62. Well over par. Just a little bit high there for Brook. It's tricky in this wind.
There it is.
Good comebacker. You almost got to look at pars like birdies and bogeys like pars in these conditions, like you were saying, Jen. Actually, as these players tap in here, I got to shout out Ashley Mua, who was the only birdie on the day on this hole. Good par there from Alecia.
Yeah, definitely want to take your time on any distance when it's windy like this.
And Rebecca with a par as well. And so we have 2 players starting birdie bogey and 2 players starting par, and it's as if nothing happened. One more look at Brooke's forehand form here as she flexes a shot down the left side.
Here we are, hole number 3. This is a 555-foot par 4. Nice open off the tee, just a few trees to work around, and then the basket is out here in the open on the right side. So trying to get that first shot around those trees where you have a nice open look to approach the basket.
And there is actually an OB line down the left side, but it probably won't come into play.
I bet the women are wishing it was as calm as it is with this drone footage.
I know, right?
We're going to see a big difference in the flag here, I think. So you can see that OB line on the left side there off the tee. Alicia's just taking a nice, safe play, getting out into the open there.
Oh, nice hyzer flip from Rebecca. Straight out in the middle of the fairway. Can't ask for anything more than that. Oh, overturned from Brook.
Yeah, luckily that rolled back into the middle for her.
Why are you coming back this way?
It tried to roll backwards for a little while there too, but she's still in the open.
I'm ready to see Addison really get a hold of one. I feel like she's got a lot of power. You can tell she just pulls back and uses all those muscles, and that gets a full flight, beautiful drive out there in front of that last tree.
She does indeed throw really far. And actually here we see Brooks' roll got pretty close to that OB line on the left. She was fortunate to stay safe after that cut roll.
Yeah, and they're going to really have to watch the angle of the release on the disc with these kind of winds. They're going to push them down or lift them and really lose a lot of distance and control. That has a nice hyzer line. Didn't really get any skip though. Rebecca looks like, what, 350 away, maybe a little over 300. Getting most of that.
Not bad. And here we finally get to Addison's crush of a drive. She probably has like 280 left, if that, maybe less. Leaves that upshot a little short, but she's still putting for birdie there.
Just a little high, but it's going to drop out of the sky inside circle one or close to it.
Yeah, right at circle's edge, I think.
I love the height, but it's just going to glide with that wind. Needed to really aim that over there towards the cedar to get it to land by the basket. Total strong right to left here. Rebecca
Beautiful.
has great control, putting it inside the bullseye.
And here's Addison for birdie from just outside the circle. Good commitment, good height. The right to left wind just got her a little bit.
And now it looks like it's barely even blowing.
It was just, like you said, so unpredictable all day. Starting and stopping, changing direction, just swirling. Very difficult to read.
Yeah, that we have the storm that's going to come in tonight. So this is kind of the pre-wind.
Ooh. Brook with the step putt there. She was actually right on circle's edge. Asked the group if she did not mark her lie, if she was outside the circle, and she was. She wanted to step putt, so she did not mark it.
Getting that over the rim. Addison saves par.
And that is a good par on a hole that averaged 4.81 with 0 birdies on the day, which makes me even more sad that Addison missed the birdie putt there. But this area of the course out in this particular field felt even windier than the rest of it. So the holes that play out here, I think, just averaged a lot higher than they would on a normal day without wind, compared to the rest of the course even. Good par from Rebecca.
We've all done it, not taking our time. We've all done it. That was like the worst one in a long time.
All right, so cleaning up a couple of bogeys there. Alecia and Brook and Rebecca and Addison with the par.
Tough hole. Oh, good. We get to take another look at this form. You were talking about it earlier, Jen. Her form is immaculate. Look at that. Follow through, clean release, no wobble. Throws it probably 100 feet farther than everybody else on the card, on that hole anyway. Moving along to hole 4. This is a 300-foot par 3. Pretty open off the tee, down the hill. The basket's just there, tucked to the left behind those small trees. Not much in the way on this one. The main danger is sailing it long, considering that the hill gets steeper behind the basket.
Yeah, it's definitely going to bring it down a little quicker there on that left side. Wonderful right hand, back hand throw. Hyzer line, just like that disc in the drone footage.
Someone was thrown on the drone? What if they hit it? It's dangerous.
Okay, Rebecca's got the box here. Going that right hand, backhand like we talked about. Beautiful hyzer, dropping the bucket. Oh, comes in just on the front side.
That was a very smooth drive. It looked pretty effortless. Yet it traveled 300 because she's pin high.
Same thing here. Skip on it.
Ooh.
The tree stops it. It's going to have a nice little downhill putt for birdie. Low, needs it to hyzer quick.
It tried a little at the end, but yeah, she just turned that over a little too much.
Yeah, the wind wasn't letting it come down.
This looks good from Brook. Got the height. Fades at the right time.
Beautiful drive. Don't do it to her. That's not fair.
No. How rude.
That's the worst. I mean, at least she didn't get to see it at the moment, how close that hit.
I do think she was confused when we got down there.
It's always the worst. I stepped up to a drive today, and the spotter's like, "Oh, you hit the koozie, but it rolled 60." Like, it's
don't tell me that.
It's the worst. Let's see if she can still convert for the birdie. Nope, she's very smart. Lays it up. She's going to have that tap-in par. Smart play.
50-footer or maybe 40-footer uphill in the wind. You don't want to mess with that. That was a smart play.
Let's see if Rebecca tries, and it looks like she's lining it up. Commits. And it's a great layup, though. It's perfect.
It did look like she was lining it up.
Yep, she was fully committed.
One of those involuntary layups,
Yep.
I like to call them.
Oh,
no. Sit.
There we go.
At least
just
it's
a little
that.
right side. That's one of those you like try not to overthink, and you're like, okay, just throw it in. But you have to go through that routine every time. Saves the par.
Or, you could turbo putt from 5 feet. That's an option.
I love it. But not in this wind. Not in this
Not
wind.
in the wind, no.
Our awesome PDGA crew back there. Aiden taking some great pictures.
Good par save from Rebecca there. And pars all around.
PDGA Event Support Helpline.
Hey, I was wondering if I could add some rules to my tournament to make it a little unique.
Sure. You just need a waiver from the Director of Event Support.
Okay, great. An island green?
Shouldn't be a problem.
And elevated baskets?
Yeah, we get those all the time.
Oh, and forehands only?
Sarah, we've been over this.
Sorry. I mean, but I don't see why we can't try it. I mean, everyone loves forehands. Like, you can go right, you can go left, you can throw straight, you can throw high, you can throw low.
At Discraft, we don't wait to see what the future holds. We build it. The future is in your hands.
Right, hole number 5. This is a 300-foot par 3. Starting with a little bit of trees, back out to the open again, finishing slightly to the right. A couple of guardian trees there. That cedar on the right could definitely catch a few discs as it comes in, as well as the one there on the left side. Slightly sloping down to the right as well. So that's going to help them kind of pull that disc over there towards the basket. Like a little bit of a headwind, and it's carrying it beautifully. She can get around that tree, but it looks like she caught up on the backside.
Yeah, that cluster of trees really is in the perfect guardian spot for that flex backhand line. You got to pick a side. A little bit low there for Addison. Long look.
came in really close on the right side. Let's see if it can get around, and it does. Everyone's kind of landing with that little bit of a look just short of the basket. I like how she went a lot more left off the tee, but unfortunately the disc was too stable. Hyzers into the tree that's guarding the basket on the left side.
Yeah, I agree. I like the line and the release point. She just needed
Wrong
a more
disc.
understable disc, and
Yeah.
that would have been the shot right there. Nice layup
Good
from
safe
Alecia.
play. Yep. That's that distance, like you can not really give it enough thought as well, and you're like, I'm just going to lay this up. And you want to take those serious in this wind and really get them close. Beautiful line.
Look at
Stay
that.
close.
The way she was lining that up, I thought she was going to hit that little tunnel, and she
Yeah.
surprised me with the hyzer around the left side there. Worked out perfectly, though.
Drop. Such a good bid. Good height.
Running it, ladies. I love it.
And for the moment, the wind has seemed to calm down, and Brook takes full advantage of that, saving her par.
Great par save. Yeah, the wind just started and stopped all around. Don't think that it's done just because it calmed down there. Look, it's already picked up again before they're even done with the same hole.
I believe that was an ace we just heard. But on hole 2, I believe, at Wells Springs course. So these courses kind of play close together.
I'm glad you had that knowledge, Jen. I heard it happen, but I did not know who or where it was. It's interesting. As the rest of the players tap out here, it's another hole where I got to shout someone out. In this case, Alyssa Bailey for getting the only birdie of the day on this hole, even though it only averaged 3.38. 300-foot hole, with that average, you would expect more than one birdie. But again, I got to say it's probably the wind.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see when they play this on Sunday, the difference if it with calm conditions.
One more look at Brook saving her par there. As we move on to hole number 6, this is a 245-foot uphill par 3. As always, video doesn't do uphill justice. It's a lot more uphill than it looks, and it's tucked behind these two very thick bushes here that anyone would hate to land in. And those fir trees on either side of the basket are no joke either. Kind of Milo-esque.
Yeah, this is such a cool guarded hole. You're really going to have to swing it all the way around that right side like Rebecca is doing.
Yeah, that was just too straight.
Yeah, I was
Needed a
gonna
more
say,
stable
it never
disc.
came back, did it?
Pin high right.
This looks more stable and going to take her in right at the basket. Beautiful drive.
A perfect drive from Addison there.
And Alecia turns that over and low, so going to have to pick up a lot more distance on that next shot.
So before this shot here, Brooke made a comment that Addison threw such a great shot that she was just going to try to copy that line. And
Wow.
she landed on top
Literally
of Addison's disc.
On top of it. I was surprised at how often Alecia and Brooke really threw so many of the exact same shots the day before. So Brooke must really have this copying the partner on the cards shots, just dialing them in.
Rebecca trying to chip a forehand up there and save her par. It actually went a little long, and she's tucked under some branches on the tree, but she will have a look to save par from there. And this is Alecia for par. A little bit low.
Yeah, it looks like almost like a tailwind putt that just really drops so fast.
And then you can mark yours and you just pick them both up. They're the same damn spot, so.
And they marked those and then realized that Rebecca was actually out, so
Yeah, and that's such a hard putt. You're almost on the circle one edge and completely stretched out. Beautiful putt.
Great birdie for Addison there. Right before that, Brook had asked, who's out? Who wants to go first? And Addison, with no hesitation, she was like, I'll go.
I love
Stepped
it.
up, drained the putt. Oh, no, Brook.
And I think it's harder to follow, a made putt like that because you put that little bit of pressure on yourself that, well, she made it, I have to do it too. So I like Addison's approach of stepping up and being the first one to go.
It's almost like she thought about that and made the decision because of that.
So unfortunately, hole number 6 is going to get a few bogeys, one from Alecia and one from Rebecca. Addison with the only birdie and Brook getting a great par.
We'll take one more look at that beautiful birdie right here.
Yeah, sweet spot. Hole number 7 is a 400-foot par 4. Loving these nice wide open fairways. They're going to let it go and try to get it clearly just as far as possible up the fairway. Second shot, trying to get them right in front of the basket there. No guardian trees really at this hole, so everything is going to maybe hopefully hold them in close to the basket.
Yeah, the only obstacles are really on the green, but this is also back in that exposed area where they were a few holes ago that I mentioned is the most windy area of the course, so it was pretty windy up here.
Great height. The wind is sucking it down. She's not going to get quite as far as she expected.
I heard her mention before this hole that she does have the ability to throw 400 feet.
Wow.
The previous card was putting on the green, and the rest of this card was like, I think we're probably clear to go, right? And she said, well, I have the potential to throw 400, so we better wait.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
I'm not surprised to hear it. You can see it in her form that she's got that in her. Maybe
And
not in this wind, but
yeah, you can see the wind there, and it's just really pushing them down quick. So that's when you want to adjust your angle and adjust where you're aiming. Alecia doing that a little bit, but just still doesn't have the power to really carry down the fairway. So Alecia up first here. Let's see if she can get up and still get that birdie, and unfortunately lets it go just right down in front of her. And that's just the fear from the wind. You're afraid to get them up in the air and expose too much of the disc. That had great height and landing just right, unfortunately, at the skippiest part of the ground there.
yeah, right. If there was grass right there, she'd be in bullseye.
Yep. Really cranking on it. Brook getting most of the way up there. Going to be just outside circle 1.
Yeah, you can see how windy it is by the flag there and the trees moving around.
Yeah, and a tailwind, so that's why these discs are being pushed down like Alicia's there.
Yeah, everybody's struggling a bit on this one.
Eagle?
Ooh, she tried.
No, tap in birdie.
Well played. A little bit low.
And I like that, though, because she really has been, putting with these big hyzers. I was afraid she was going to throw that up and expose a lot of disc, but kept it lower. Unfortunately, it did still go about 18 feet or so. So Rebecca still with a nice long putt. All of these are long with this wind.
Yeah. Oh no. Didn't compensate for the headwind that just lifted it way above the basket there.
Yeah, and this strong of wind, it's going to typically, do what it's supposed to. So a headwind is going to lift it. The tailwind's going to push it down. For those of you at home or watching, That is what it should do, but not always the case. And you can see it changed with her.
It did.
I mean, that flag went from one way to the other, and that's so hard.
So after the tailwind putt, in theory, the next one should have been a headwind putt, but it was a right to left, and she putts with a little hyzer, and so it lifted it and moved it left a little. Super windy here on the screen.
And thankfully, she hit the pole. Like, there's actually a flag on this one. I love the flags. I think all the baskets should have those flags. It's amazing how many discs really get helped staying close to the basket instead of kind of trampolining off the top.
I agree. Having something like flags or number plates, ideally flags, but something on top of the basket standardized at every event would be great, Jen.
Yeah.
I agree, because it's weird that at some events you can miss high and hit a flagpole, and others you can skip off the top of the basket and launch to 40 feet.
And it is excellent in these types of conditions as well to really help you with that wind read. We don't have to toss up grass. You can just look at the flag on the basket. All right, so this ended up being a very difficult hole for all of Addison's card mates, but she gets the easy tap-in birdie because of this huge drive right here.
Cool, we get to see the form one more time.
Great follow-through.
Love it. Moving along to hole 8, this is a 740-foot par 5. There's an OB line down the left side of the field there, right at the wood line the whole way. You want to flex a shot out to the right of this fir tree or pine tree here, and we can finally now see the basket in the distance. Pretty open the whole way. One more tree here on the left to contend with, but the last challenge is that there is an OB line at the wood line deep of the basket as well, maybe even inside the circle. I want to say 25 feet deep or so is where the OB line is. This is the first, no, it's not the first par 5 we've seen for this event. I'm wrong. Hole 17 at the other course was a par 5.
Little stable. Need that to come down quick.
Oh no, that found the OB over there.
Yeah, that would have had great carry. Just needed to turn the wrist angle over a little bit more.
Thankfully, it went OB at the very end of the flight, so she still got all of her distance. She's going to get to progress way down there.
Love the way that Brook released that one. Nice and flat, just carrying it all the way down the fairway. This one as well, a little more understable, so we're going to dive down on the right side a little too quick.
Pretty much the same mistake again. I mean, it was a severe headwind on this hole, playing in the opposite direction of the previous hole where they were all struggling with the tailwind, pushing their shots down.
Nice flat release. That's going to get her a lot closer to the basket.
And Rebecca from almost the same spot. Turn that forehand over a little too. Making progress.
Nice power, snap, and carry. One more shot, and we're almost there.
This is just Addison getting approval from her card mates on where the spotter had marked her disc crossing into OB there with that pink flag. So this is going to be her third shot from here. She was a little bit pinched, so she had to go with the flex forehand.
That looked exactly like Adam Hammis.
I can see that, yeah.
The way she pulled that back.
And it kind of went off to the right, but she had good distance with that too.
Yeah, she
so
did.
She's got good power and form with both throwing styles. Great shot there, just inside the circle.
And the wind has completely stopped.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new day right there.
5 minutes later, from 20 miles per hour to 0. It'll start again by the time they get to the green, probably. Oh, she's still having a little trouble turning shots over here.
And this is where it gets frustrating with really long holes that are wide open like this. You kind of just feel like you're throwing the same shot over and over again. This is where Steve Dodge would say par 5 should not be allowed. Interviewed him on our PDGA radio. A little shout out for PDGA radio for Grant Zellner and I. Check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, now I'm curious and thinking about the fact that Maple Hill doesn't have any par 5s.
Nope, Steve Dodge does not believe in them. For this reason, I mean, the MPO players can definitely make, this hole a lot faster. But for beginner players, we have juniors out here as well. This is a very long hole, so it gets very repetitive.
Just right for Brook. And her upshot there, actually, you can see the OB line really close behind her. She almost leaked OB, but she did not. Rebecca just a little tentative on that putt. It's almost weird to putt in the calm after you've been putting in the wind for so many holes.
It is.
You forget how to putt normally without wind conditions to compensate for. Just a little high.
Yeah, she took her time, had great focus. I would have bet money that was going in. I think Addison Woodward is going to be a kid that we're going to watch a lot of golf in the future.
I agree.
Nice, solid play.
Saved the par there despite the OB stroke.
It's my game.
Well, she's certainly following in your footsteps with the distance as well. So maybe you two have more than one thing in common.
Yeah, Brooke's going to save her par as well. Unfortunately, Alecia with the bogey. And Rebecca's going to tap in her par.
Taking one more look at Rebecca's form on her drive here. Smooth.
We're wrapping up hole 9. This is 280-foot par 3 again. These great open fairways. Very simple hole. Nice downslope with a tree line behind the basket. So just want to get a good straight shot, hopefully close to basket. Finish out the front 9 with a birdie.
Yeah, really the only danger on this one is going deep into that ditch with all the trees behind it. It's not OB back there, but the trees are pretty thick, so it could lead to some tricky circle 2 putts.
Addison releases that way too early. She's going to find the trees on the left side. This is just a U-shaped line of trees, so just keep it right in front. Brooke doing a great job. That's going to hyzer back. Landing right in front of the basket. Unfortunately, huge skip on that dirt, and that's going to be back on circle 1 edge.
Yeah, I was saying those trees could lead to some tricky circle 2 putts, but they're actually inside the circle, closer than I thought.
This had good height. Let's see if it can come down right at the basket and stays pretty close, about 20-25. Alecia going with her forehand. Great flex. I like where it's coming down. Just didn't get the skip. Just a little more power on that.
Right in between what she did and what Brooke did. Split the difference.
And for some reason, Addison keeps letting these go just a little bit early.
And here's Brooke in the ditch. Circle's edge deep, maybe, I think just outside the circle, 35 or so.
Yes.
Beautiful birdie putt. And I think I may have been wrong because she didn't step putt, and she prefers to step putt outside the circle. So, yeah, that was probably like 31, 32 feet.
Calling out her idol. Beautiful, out of the hand, straight line into the basket.
Good par save. Man, another one just
She's
high.
solid. She's committing. Yes, you want those to go in, but you can't be too mad at yourself. They're clean. They're going to start dropping if you commit and just keep following this. And Rebecca, just a little too right chain.
Danced on the rim for a second before falling out.
Yeah, maybe if there was a big right to left, that would have pushed it back in, but...
That was kind of a scary drop
yeah,
in there.
She did not really pay attention to that.
She dropped it on the rim
Yeah.
and it toppled in.
That would not be how you want to finish the front nine here. This is round 2, wrapping up the front nine
Look
with
at that putt.
FA1. That is Brook draining it from circle's edge down in the ditch.
Great way to finish the front nine. We'll take a look at our scores here through 9 holes. Addison shooting a fantastic front nine. 2 down in this wind is phenomenal, really. And then Brook only a little bit behind her at even. The other 2 players struggling a little bit, but we'll see if they can make up for any of that on the back nine. Come back and join us.